Have you ever just watched two rival companies, just slash their prices again and again and again to the point where you're just scratching your head thinking, how is either one of them making any money? It seems totally self-destructive, but it happens all the time. So, how can a decision that basically sinks your own ship be the most logical one to make? Well, to get to the bottom of that, we have to dive into the absolutely brilliant world of game theory. So this is the big question, right? The puzzle that stumps so many of us. We're always told that businesses act in their own rational self-interest, all to maximize profit. So how in the world do two smart, profit-hungry competitors get locked into a battle that just decimates the profits for both of them? The answer, it turns out, is in a fascinating and surprisingly simple concept. All right, to really see how things go so wrong, we first have to imagine a perfect world. A world where our rivals can actually cooperate, where they can trust each other, and where they can get the best possible outcome for everyone involved. Let's build that world. Okay, let's meet our players. Picture this beautiful, sun-drenched resort area, Tanjung. In this gorgeous spot, there are really only two big dogs when it comes to luxury hotels. We've got Resort Blue and we've got Resort Red. They're in a classic showdown, fighting for the exact same group of high-end tourists. Now, let's imagine the managers of these two resorts have a very, very quiet, secret little meeting. They agree to do something that, let's just say, regulators wouldn't be too happy about. They decide to collude. They make a pact to keep their prices high. We're talking 2 million rupiah a night, all to avoid a nasty price war and keep those profit margins fat and happy for both of them. And the prize for this little handshake deal? Oh, it's huge. If both resorts just stick to the plan, stick to the high price, they split the market, and together they earn a massive 1 billion rupiah in profit. That's a cool 500 million each. It's a perfect, peaceful, and super profitable scenario. But, and this is a big but, it all hinges on one little thing: trust. And this, right here, is where that perfect world starts to show its cracks. Let's step inside the mind of the manager over at Resort Blue. The deal is done. The handshake is still warm, but now they're back in their office, alone, just staring at the spreadsheets. And a really powerful temptation starts to creep in. So the manager at Blue starts running the numbers. Okay, they're thinking, Resort Red, they're good people, they'll probably stick to the 2 million price. But what if we didn't? What if we could use their trust to our advantage? This single question right here is the beginning of the end. And the logic behind cheating? It's incredibly powerful. The strategy is simple, but it is brutal. Step 1, you secretly drop your price just a little, down to 1.5 million. Step 2, because you're suddenly the better deal, all the customers, and I mean all of them, flood your way. You steal the entire market. And step 3, you walk away with the biggest possible payday, leaving your rival completely high and dry. But here is the absolute most crucial point of this whole thing. The manager at Resort Blue, they're not some kind of evil genius. They're just rational. And over at Resort Red, there's another rational manager sitting in their office, looking at the exact same numbers and having the exact same tempting thought. So both managers, thinking completely independently, completely rationally, they arrive at this powerful and ultimately self-defeating conclusion. The logic is just inescapable. No matter what they think their rival is going to do, their own best move is always to set a low price. Let's walk through exactly why that is. All right, let's put ourselves in the shoes of the manager at Resort Blue. Look at their options. Scenario 1, Resort Red is a good partner, they honor the deal and charge a high price. What's Blue's best move? Charge low and scoop up the whole market. Okay, scenario 2, Resort Red also cheats and charges a low price. Well, then Blue's only move to avoid total disaster and get some customers is to, you guessed it, also charge low. See, in both cases, their best choice is to charge low. And here's the kicker. Resort Red is staring at the exact same set of choices. It's a perfect mirror image. If Blue is trustworthy, Red should cheat to get rich. If Blue is a cheater, Red has to cheat just to survive. So their conclusion is identical. Charge low. From their own individual perspective, it is the only rational thing to do. So what happens when you have two competitors, both independently making what is, for them, the most logical decision? You get a head-on collision. You get a race to the bottom. You get the one thing their secret handshake was designed to prevent, an all-out, profit-destroying price war. This little chart, this matrix, it shows the trap perfectly. Look at the top left corner. That's the dream. Both charge a high price, both walk away with $500 million. Beautiful. But as we've seen, that temptation to lower prices is just too strong. So blue is incentivized to move down to low price, and red is incentivized to move across to low price. And where do they inevitably end up? Boom, the bottom right corner. Both charging low and both earning a measly $100 million each. They are trapped. So let's just pause on this for a second. The contrast is just wow. They could have been making $500 million each in a world built on trust. Instead, by each manager simply doing what was best for them, they've ended up with just $100 million. They have collectively just vaporized 800 million rupiah in potential profit. Gone. This entire scenario, this logical trap that seems so counterintuitive, it has a name. And it's maybe the most famous concept in all of game theory, the prisoner's dilemma. Now that we've seen the story play out, let's put the official labels on everything we just witnessed. So the first key term is dominant strategy. Just think of it as your no-brainer move. It's the action that gives you the best outcome no matter what your opponent decides to do. And as we just saw in that breakdown, for both Resort Blue and Resort Red, lowering their price was always the smartest individual move. It was their dominant strategy. And that leads us to what's called a Nash Equilibrium, named after the brilliant mathematician John Nash. Now, this is a stable state. Think of it like strategic quicksand. Once you're in it, no one can make themselves better off by changing their strategy by themselves. Think about it. Once both resorts are charging a low price, if Resort Blue suddenly decides to raise its price alone, what happens? It loses all its customers to Red. They are completely stuck. The price war is the Nash Equilibrium. And that right there brings us to the core paradox at the heart of this entire explainer. You have two perfectly logical, rational, self-interested decisions that, when you put them together, create a result that is worse for everyone involved. Individual rationality leads to collective irrationality. So we'll leave you with this thought. The prisoner's dilemma shows us that in a lot of situations, pure, unregulated self-interest doesn't actually lead to the best outcome. It leads to a trap. And it really makes you wonder, how many other systems, from international trade deals to climate change negotiations, are locked in a similar paradox, unable to get to a better place because we're all just following our own seemingly rational choices?